Welcome back to the ETF Inspector. In this video, I will be going over the compensation from YouTube for a month as a small channel. This will be my third check from YouTube and my second full month of being monetized. I will also go through the analytics, the background, and just kind of talk through things for people interested in starting a YouTube channel and trying to get an idea for what the reality is, what you can expect. I'm combining this also with my normal Saturday morning video. So once I do that channel update, I will switch over to my trades and holdings in my personal trading portfolio for what I did over the course of the past week. So before we get started, I'm also on X. I'm not monetized on X. I'm not even pursuing that. This is just a way to point people towards the channel. ETF_Inspector1. I don't do anything other than channel related posts and reposts, things like that. There's no opinion on here. It's just related to the channel. Let's see. So starting off, we are very close to hitting that 5,000 subscriber mark. I believe I started the channel on April 29th. And since then, I have made 330 videos. So I am always making videos. I do not edit any videos, as you will notice watching this one. This takes up a decent amount of time between the prep work to make the videos, the recording, the uploading, all that good stuff. So if I were to edit it, it would just turn it into too much time. Now, I will tell you, people that edit their videos probably do a lot better per video as far as views are concerned. But let's get back to it. So we are 11 subscribers away from 5,000. Most likely we should be able to hit that over this weekend. So that's a pretty exciting milestone. All right, we just started membership recently, late in September, and we have 192 members. We picked up a bunch of new subscribers or members just yesterday, but this was because some of the subscribers that watch my daily videos gifted memberships to the community. Two different people gifted 50, so 100 free memberships were gifted to people in yesterday's video. So that was very cool of them. All right, so we will start with the analytics. It was actually, let's switch this to September. It was a little bit of a struggle month as far as views were concerned. As you can see, I got about 50,000 views in the course of September, which is, as you see, 22% less than August. Okay, watch time hours was down as well, 22 hours less. That makes sense. My videos are typically almost the same daily. I would just go over the daily trades and holdings for the different financial investments that people might be into. So if the views drop by 22%, it's going to make sense that the watch time hours equally, because I'm pretty much putting out the same quantity of and length of content on a daily basis. My subscribers went up by 463 subscribers over the course of September, which was a large drop from the month before, 72% less than how many people subscribed in August. August was a crazy month, just subscribers by the hundreds. And then, so it'd be nice to save the exciting part for last, but it just shows up on the page. And so $877.83 was my revenue from making a YouTube channel. That is up from August, but it's not necessarily because of YouTube. So we will get into that to explain how that worked. So far, so in that period, my top content was a video on WPay. It's a weekly paying universe fund of funds from Roundhill. I got 6,600 views. That is my #1 video I've made on the channel. So with less than 5,000 subscribers and the best video I've ever made, 6,000 views. So this goes to show you that you're able to make a little bit of side money, a little side hustle. Definitely not living off of it wise, but okay. When we take switch over to the next analytic, we already talked about 50,000 views, 808,000 impressions. That is very similar to the number from the month before. I believe that is basically when you're scrolling through YouTube and it just kind of shows you a video. It seems like my video has been my total of all my videos in the month were shown to people about 800,000 times, and in general, 4.5% of the people clicked on it, and on average watched for about 7 minutes, 41 seconds. When we take a look at my audience, a little bit of interesting information within this. We see that most people are watching on a mobile phone, 42%, and then you drop into the 20s for TV and computer, and then 7.5% on tablet. It's crazy that that they are able to pull all this kind of information. The majority of the people, this makes sense, are watching in the United States. These are American funds. Not that other countries don't have some sort of access, but 81% coming from the United States. Canada coming in second, just under 8%, and then we've got less than 1% for Australia, Brazil, Germany, and there are others as well. As far as subscribers, so if you're watching this video, almost 60% of the people watching are subscribed. That means there's still 40% to go. So if you're watching and you haven't clicked subscribe yet, it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. If you could click that button, that would help the channel out without costing you anything. And then when you do, there's some extra stuff that really helps the channel out. Subscribers who turned on all notifications for your channel is just under 13%. That's in the typical range for YouTube, but it's on the low end, between 10 and 30. So if you could do that, that helps. And then subscribers who turned on all notifications for your channel and enabled YouTube notifications, that's at 8.4%. Again, within the range, but on the lower side. So if you do those things, that gives you a much higher likelihood of catching videos when they get put out, and it also tells YouTube that people like the content, and so they will suggest it to more people. The more people they suggest it to, the more people click on it, and the more views it get. We're a slight increase, so 95.5% male audience. So we've got I call them the 4%ers. So now it's 4.4% female. And I appreciate that because my wife definitely wouldn't sit and listen to me talk for 10 to 30 minutes in a video. We're not getting the young crowd. Young people aren't worried about investments yet, but 25 to 34, we start picking up some percentages, with the highest percentage of people watching my videos are 45 to 54 years old, just over 30%. All right, revenue. This is the part that everybody is the most interested in and likes the most. So as you can see, July was the first month I got a check, but I only got monetized in the middle of July. So it was not a complete month. August was the first complete month, 745. September is the month we're talking about now, 877. So you say, how did your views go down and your watch time go down, but the money went up? Well, it's because my viewers and subscribers are extremely generous. So as you can see, the money was up by 22% over the course of the month. But if we look at the money coming from YouTube, the watch page ads, that was actually down 14%. So what made up the difference? There was $50 coming in from members. I started membership. I put it at a real cheap thing. I'm not trying to get the most kind of money out of it. I made it like $1.99. So just as a little way, if people want to support the channel. And then there are other ways people do things called super chats and super thanks, and that was up, as you can see, by 158%. So we had a day here in the beginning of September where $133 was given in like one video, and then there was another big day. So then you've got smaller numbers along the way. Now, this isn't the total amount that was given. This is the amount that YouTube passed along. So unfortunately, they keep a chunk. So I do let people know if you, I'm not asking for handouts. I appreciate absolutely everything. I'm super grateful. I always put it in the videos, shouting people out and thanking them. So if you feel inclined to give, I absolutely appreciate you so much. If you say, hey, when I give, I don't want YouTube to keep a big chunk, I do have a Buy Me a Coffee. It is a website that is basically a way to support creators. And I put a little blurb in there, talks about me, and I actually say, hey, I don't actually drink coffee, so we'll call it Buy Me a Share, since I talk about shares all the time of stocks. So people support through that. The nice thing is the percentage they keep is about 6 times less than the percentage that YouTube keeps. So that's a sweet deal over there. All right, I think that is just about everything. So a lot of people like to do the super chats, and there's super stickers. I forgot about that. So in the middle of a premiere, a live video, if people do a super chat, it like draws big attention to what they said, so you can kind of really highlight your announcement. And a lot of times it's just people giving just to be kind, but people can bring a lot of attention, and it actually stays drawing attention for a long time, obviously longer amount of time for larger amounts of money. And people have given crazy amounts of money. I never in a million years would have thought somebody would just hand you $100 for making a free video for them to watch. All right, so that is the update on the channel. That is how much I made, and maybe not necessarily what you could expect. Obviously, there's people who are doing a whole lot better, and then there's people who give up before they ever get to the point of monetization. So, big picture though, it is nice. It helps. It's estimated probably putting in over 90 hours a month. So I'm still looking at less than $10 an hour, but kind of have a big picture down the line mindset, right? Otherwise, you just go get a part-time job at Amazon or something to make more money than that. So, okay, that's the end of that update. I'm going to switch over now. So if you were only interested in YouTube content creation and you have no interest in stocks and finance and investment, then you'll probably want to just head on out now. I do put dad jokes at the end of videos, so if you stick around, you get a little treat there. So next, we're going to just talk about my trades and holdings in my personal taxable trading account for the week. So starting off, I have a wheel strategy running on 2 different underlyings. The first one is Bitto. It's a ProShares Bitcoin ETF, and I recently got assigned back in September. I've received a dividend. I purposely sold the put so that I would receive the dividend if I got assigned. So I received the dividend. I sold a call, and now I just sold another call. This time I sold it a lot further out. I just wanted a chunk of money, and again, intentionally. So I've sold this covered call for 20. I got assigned at 19.50. I've already collected lots of other premium from selling calls and puts. So I sold just above my strike price on a little bit lower price than what we ended today. But I sold for $50 more than what I got assigned for, and collected 46 cents per share. With 100 shares, that's $46. Just take away the fees, the brokerage charges, and I put it for the last day of the year. So I usually like to sell a lot closer, like a week or 2 at a time, so I can actively manage it. But the thought process here is I want to just keep on collecting their distributions in the meantime. So I will receive the November and December payments that come from Bitto along with this. The last one was 76 cents per share. So if I get 2 more in that range, another like $1.50-ish plus the almost 50 cents that I received from that, we're looking at almost $2 a share, $200. So that was the reasoning behind that. And this is just a profit and loss or cost basis if assigned. So I am assigned, I have shares. So based on all the premiums I've collected over the course of this wheel, even though I got assigned at $19.50, I have a cost basis of $16.14, $1,614 for 100 shares. All right, that was a really long explanation for the first wheel. Next wheel. All right, I don't have to explain all that type of stuff again. So CorMedix, I got assigned my cash secured puts, 2 of them on 10/17. This was a funny scenario. When did I had them sold almost for a month. They didn't spend one day in the money the entire time except for like the last day or 2 days before it closed out. So I got assigned. So that was a little bit annoying because I did want the cash free. But then I wasn't paying attention. I popped open my phone. So I got assigned on the 17th, right? That was a Friday. 18th and 19th was the weekend. 20th, I wasn't even looking at the market, popped open my phone in the middle of the day for something else and noticed that CorMedix was up nicely. It was, let's take a look real quick. Monday, look at this. CorMedix ran to like 12.50. So I didn't catch it at its peak, but I had just got done getting assigned for 11 on Friday and it jumped big time into the 12s. So I sold a $12, at the money, $12 call for the following month. So they only do monthlies, 11/21, collecting $1.12 per share each on 200 shares. So I collected $222 on this that I'm already in the money to sell it another $1 above what I bought it for. So it did drop back down throughout the week. So they are currently out of the money. I didn't look up how much it would cost to close them. I think actually I have it on this other screen. I'm not going to pull up my account in front of everybody because it's got account numbers on it, but 70 cents to close them out. So I could have kept 42 cents a share premium right away and closed it out, but I'm not worried about that. I'm fine if they get assigned or exercised. So this one's working out well. It has worked out well in the past for me. I've brought in lots of income trading the wheel on CorMedix. All right, that's it. I only have 2 wheel strategies going right now. The market just kept on going up and I stopped wanting to chase things. So I used to trade a lot more wheels. If things drop, I'll get back into it, or if things kind of steady out. I do have a put spread that I'm running on Open Door. That's OPEN. Started it back on the 9th, and then I rolled it last week on the 17th. I think these shouldn't be yellow. I have already spoken to both of these, so yellow is something that happened new for the week. So this put spread expiring next week is still in play. I thought about rolling it again this week as it was up over 8, and it's a $7 short put in that spread. I thought about rolling it again cheap because it was nice and cheap to close out. But if you've rolled it one more week, it's going to go past earnings. And, there's a lot of volatility there. So I decided to just leave it alone for now. And I will make the decision next week. I could have closed it out for like 14 cents a share. So I've brought in, a good bit more than that. But I didn't want to pay to close it out while I'm sitting almost $1 out of the money. So this is just an update, just kind of keeping an eye on it. I stink at spreads. This is for the year, I've actually lost money. I tend to win little and lose big, and the lose bigs have hurt me worse than the accumulation of all the little. So I'm down 273, and I've given up on the thought that I'm going to try to get that positive by the end of the year. So I'm not worried about it. Okay, and then finally, the biggest portion and the thing I'm most excited about is my high yield income funds. I have grown this a lot, and I have plans to grow it even more. So I'm going to talk about what's going on and then show you my plans, because that's going to be an exciting update when it comes. All right, so first, this is how this week went for me. I just talked about Cormetics. I sold those 2 calls after Cormetics jumped on Monday. So I brought in $222.66 selling options on Cormetics this week. I sold that call out to the end of the year on Bitto so I can collect the monthly distributions for the next 2 or so months and also get a little bit of premium. And then all of my weekly paying dividend funds paid out a total of $357.35 this week. So we'll just scroll. We can skip that. We can scroll over here to see where that came from. YMAG I no longer have, so we don't have to worry about that. Ulti's obviously my biggest one, paying $198.67 this week. Everything this week will be in yellow. We'll kind of bounce around. YMAX paying less than the previous week. That one kind of stinks, even though I got a little bit more shares. $37.75. Chippy paying $11.58. I just started getting into them, so I don't have very many shares. It's very similar to almost all the rest of these. GPTY, same thing, $9.13. Misty, this was their first realistic weekly payment, and I got $67.46. Then we got Blocks. Again, I'm just buying a small amount of shares in a bunch of these. These are the future plan, and so I didn't want to forget it. So I got $5.79 from Blocks, nothing special. And then I have the Yield Boost. I picked 3 Yield Boost funds that I felt the best about. They are similar but different. So they are, instead of selling calls to generate income, like these other funds where these guys sell puts to generate income on leveraged versions of NVIDIA, SMCI, and Palantir. So they, again, I don't have very much in them yet, so I got 738, 1184, and 775. Let's see, I had a cash secured put on Ulti. I actually started it back on 1010. I sold a $5.50 put on Ulti when it was at 551, so like right at the money. That's not supposed to be a dollar figure. That's a quantity of shares. I collected 10 cents per share, or $10. I ended up rolling that and paying 34, but collecting another 44. So realistically, I was ready to buy Ulti at 550 anyway. So instead of buying Ulti at 550 that day, I sold a put on it, and I let it eventually get assigned today after receiving another 20 some cents. So instead of buying it at 551, it's kind of like getting it at 530. Now, obviously, it dropped down lower than that, but if I'd have bought it at that time, it wouldn't matter what it did afterwards. I'd have bought it at that price. So I let that get assigned today. I wanted the shares anyway. So that's kind of the number one rule. If you're going to sell cash secured puts, make sure it's on something that you want to own, wouldn't mind owning at a price you wouldn't mind owning it at. All right, so I've updated all of these. That's why they're all in yellow. So I bought more shares of everything this week. I now have 2,350 shares of Ulti with a cost basis of $591. YMAX 250 shares, cost basis is $13.49. That one's not too far off. This is the current price, this row next to it. Misty's obviously the one that hurts the worst. $18.18 cost basis on 365 shares with an $11.73 closing price. So I have I think this is the only one that this is the only one that's really ugly. I have dropped $2,300 worth of value and only picked up $1,300 in payments. Now, Ulti, everybody thinks Ulti's so terrible and crashing and blah, blah, blah. Even with the drop, as long as I kept reinvesting, I have dropped $2,000 in capital gains and received $2,700 in distribution. So I am still positive on my total return. Then we got small portions of these next ones, this is all preparing for my little future plan. Chippy, GPTY, blocks, and then the 3 yield boost funds like we just talked about. And then I also this week picked up just a couple shares of LFGY and WPay. All right, so my trading balance at the end of the week was 29,500 and change. Now that is also up because I transferred some money in this week. So I transferred $1,800 from my bank account. So I didn't jump from the 27 of last week to 29 because everything just worked out great. It was because I added some money because I wanted to get this rolling. All right, so far this month, I've received $1,300 in distributions, and so far this year, $6,200. But I did not spend the whole year very focused on distributions. This is a recent switchover of my plan. So to talk about what the plan is, I don't know why I got so colorful. I just wanted to switch things up, maybe kind of going from riskiest to least. But so I wrote out all my bills, not all, the majority of my bills, right? So my mortgage, my truck payment, property taxes, electric, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, cell phone, propane to heat the house, internet, and trash on a monthly basis, and then just multiplied it out to be yearly. And then I said, I want to start using these funds to help pay my bills and make life easier. Now, obviously, groceries would be an enormous bill on here, probably second highest only to mortgage. But that one fluctuates so much, we don't even keep track of it. It's not like we do a full grocery shop. So I just left it off for now. I don't know what kind of number to give it, honestly. But what I did was I cashed out my cash balance pension plan from my old employer. I worked there for 14 years, so it didn't grow to be anywhere near enough to retire off of. And then I've had a lot of issues with them as I've looked into it with accessibility problems, changes that shouldn't have happened. And so I said, you know what? It's not necessarily the best financial decision to do this, but I don't know that I trust it's going to be there in another 20 years when I go to take it out. So let's make life a little easier. And so what I did is I selected 6, I don't know if you want to call them cash piles, pillars, whatever. You hear a lot of YouTubers give it different names. I don't want to be copying off of anybody, but 6 kind of different piles, and I organized them kind of together so I wouldn't have too much. I didn't want to have a full chunk in LFGY and then a full chunk in blocks, and then I'm twice as much in crypto as everything else. So the amount that I'm estimating, because they can't even tell you the amount, right? They told me a lump sum amount, but then there's obviously taxes, state and federal taxes that have to come out. There's penalties because I am not 59 and a half or whatever the age is. I'm only 40. So I'm just estimating that I'm going to get a check for around $50,000. And to put that along with roughly 22,000, I'm being conservative, but in the end, I think I'm going to have about 72,000. So I want to divide that up evenly. So I selected 6 different categories, and I'm going to have roughly $12,000 in each category. So Ulti, I call it my high IV, high yield pillar cash pile. That'll have, so that's the only thing that's going to be in that pile. So that'll get the whole chunk. And if you, I meant to have this ready, Yield Might. If you don't use this is a very cool website to use. So check this out. You can put in the amount of money that you're going to invest or have invested, and they will tell you based off the last payment how much money you would have received. So for example, if we had $12,000 in Ulti, it comes out to $211.23. for the week. So that's what we have to 1123. So now if I have two funds in there, like the fund of funds, then each gets 6,000. So then here's how much WPay would have paid out with 6,000, and here's how much YMAX would have paid. Those are my two fund of funds that are going to be in that cash pile. And then I total them at the bottom. So my crypto pile is going to be LFGY, Blocks, and Misty. You've got the $61, $26, and $73 payouts on those. My yield boost, we've already talked about the three. I have them already, just not nearly enough money in them. NVYY, PLYY, and SMYY. Those are expecting to actually bring in the biggest chunk, $256 a month. Then I have Chippy and GPTY. I kind of wanted to give them each their own category, but I was just a little nervous putting a full 12,000 in each of them. We'll see. So I just combined them. They are both portfolio funds similar to LFGY in the way they're structured, but obviously focused on chips and focused on AI. Those should bring in $117 a week. And then I wanted one more category. I couldn't figure out what to do with it, and I decided to call it my safe category. So I picked GDXY, which is a gold miners option income fund. AMZ, Amazon's going to be around forever. You just found out this past week when everything was crashing that everybody relies on Amazon, not just for their shopping. And then I just wanted one more. I didn't want it just split in two. So I picked JPMO, which is obviously JP Morgan, a bank. Again, been around forever, going to be around forever. These don't pay a lot. I was torn between this one and Berkshire Hathaway's Yield Max Fund, but they really just pay even less. So that's what I chose for these. They'd come out to $85 a week. So we totaled these all up. It comes out to $990 a week, which is $51,000 a year, or $4,291 a month. So that's pretty impressive that basically $72,000 would be estimated to pay you $51,000 a year. Now, I am not delusional. These funds, these income funds, they tend to go down, right? Because they are paying you. They're paying you when they make the money, and they're paying you when they don't make the money. So that otherwise people jump in and out. So my goal, and I am open to suggestions. I've heard people talk about this, and I haven't looked enough into it. What I want to do is use 50% and reinvest the other 50%. So the goal is going to be roughly $2,000, maybe $2,100 gets put towards bills every month, and the other $2,100 gets put back into the funds. So that, let's say Ulti was $5 and then they paid out, and now they're down to $4.90 something. I buy more shares, so now my payout kind of stays the same, similar to the rest of them. Now I think I'm going to be strategic with them, and maybe just if the price is sitting above my average, then or either above my average or above the last payout, then if they were able to pay out and I didn't drop, then I'm not necessarily going to throw the money at it. I might keep it on the sidelines and wait, or keep it more evenly. Like let's say if WPay and YMAX kind of get out of a line and there's 7,000 in WPay and only 5,000 in YMAX, maybe I add the extra just to YMAX to catch it back up. I don't know yet, but this is the plan. Literally, my company, I was on the phone with them right before I started this video, and they told me I can expect the check October 29th. And then when I asked a little bit more information, I said, oh, last time they told me a different date. And she goes, oh, well, yeah, it could be November 29th or it could be December 1st. Like, well, then how'd you just tell me October 29th? So who knows when this is going to take place. And I also haven't decided when it comes in, am I just throwing all the money at it, or do I want to buy in chunks? I was looking at maybe selling puts to get started, but a lot of these don't have puts and don't have great options charts. So anyway, leave me your feedback, your comments. What do you think? Is this crazy? Is this stupid? Do you like it? Do you have any ideas on how to improve it? Thank you for watching. this got pretty long, so let's go ahead and end it with a joke. All right. Dad joke of the day. Why does Snoop Dogg always carry an umbrella? Faux drizzle. It says faux drizzle. All right. Have a good day. If you're watching this on premiere day, it's Saturday, and I'm out coaching the last soccer game of the fall season for my middle daughter. So thank you and have a good weekend.